where's he going with this shit?
Although you belong to somebody new,
'Cause tonight you belong to me. I'm from One West headquarters. Follow my captain's orders. Live in the land of pain and torture. No straw, but they want their mortar. Tell Trump, fuck borders. P.S. Prepare for slaughter. Never take their sons and daughters. Never give them alls in return. Niggas never wanna learn. Till they laying in the urn. Babylon, Babylon, Babylon. You got to burn. Even if I gotta go with it. So fuck it, is you with it? Niggas never feel froggy, they just wanna rip it. If I see a bad bitch, then I gotta rip it. Your lip looking like the Red Sea when I split it. Tell me why that flow so vicious. Every time he switches, beat a nigga ass like mama did with switches. You niggas look real gay. Where are the bitches? I mean, where are the sisters? Better stay away from witches. That's a brouhaha. Love me as she brew, yeah. White people, he brew now. If you didn't know, then you do now. You belong to me. Yeah. Alright. This nigga's bonkers. From the same city as the Knickerbockers. Name ring bells from here to Yonkers. Or Nicaragua. You niggas too thirsty, you need some agua. I ain't talking Fina. When they kill my dog, I ain't hear shit from Peter. These niggas talk Kent, but they really mean FEMA. Kevin cut the I got more stripes than Adidas. If you ain't a bad bitch, then get the fuck off my penis. 1-2 step with a meat tree drip. Keep my circle tighter than my meat tree is. If I don't fuck with you, you a piece of shit. When I dip, you dip, we dip, we dip. This the type of shit that I sing to my bitch. No 6ix9ine, we don't sing no snitch. Gotta love that bass. Social distance, I love my space. Tell Karen, get the fuck out my face. We ain't never switching up on our race. You belong to me. It's you, baby. One more time. Gotta love that bass. Social distance, I love my space. Tell Karen, get the fuck out my face. We ain't never switching up on our race. 'Cause you belong to me. One more time for the ladies in the back, eh?
although you belong to somebody new, but tonight you belong to
I ain't have to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. Then we seen the rise of the devil. We fell for the lies of the devil. When we got high was the devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil. I ain't have to die to meet the devil.
I remember I was only 13 when I met the demon. Gave me a deuce and a bundle of cocaine. Told me to sell to my people, make sure you keep them fiending. If any try to short you, make sure that you leave them leaking. He said,
I'ma hold you down when problems pop up.
how you got me moving this dope? Want me in lockup? He said,
Don't you want the Benz vertible with the top cut?
Yeah.
Stop, bitch, you get in that kitchen, let it rock up. Bitches love the dope boy, especially when it's wop up. I know you know
who
Ron.
the plug from by the block up?
I'll tell you a little secret, make sure that you keep your mouth shut. Ron got a Lexus, crib in Philly and Texas. Trips to the Bahamas, just got a whip for his mama. He fucking up them commas, be honest, he seen decent though.
I hear you, but I just seen Ron about a week ago. In fact, he ain't looking too good. His knees is kind of slow. I asked him why the struggle. He got stuck up for his bundle, but them 6 hollow tips in his legs what made him crumble.
He got a house and mama is living good.
Said the feds took it all. He right back in the hood. I see you try to play me. You gave us crack in the 80s. Made us abort our babies and making hoes out our ladies. I know you got me gravy, but Satan, you must be crazy. It's gonna take more than them cars when to amaze me. I seen niggas shoot for the stars, but being lazy. Never get their head at the clouds, so you don't faze me.
I guarantee that you gon' regret it. Remember I said it.
Nah, you could dead it.
What you saying? I can't win?
Nah, devil, nice try. So until we meet again,
I ain't have to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. Then we seen the rise of the devil. We fell for the lies of the devil. When we got high was the devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. I ain't religious or superstitious. But we've been getting fucked and put to the side like a mistress. Police patrolling why? Because prison became a business. They murder one of ours and they start talking about forgiveness. We think that it's alright because we got public assistance. If this ain't hell, dog, what is this? Where was all lives mattered when they killed Osama? There was no peace talk like the Dalai Lama. Bush dropping bombs saying he gon' bring the drama. They got justice, man, they even caught the Boston bomber. But when we ride, they send the military in armor. When we fight oppression, then our people die a martyr. You reap what you sow, some people call it karma. When Christ return, y'all gon' get this harvest like a farmer. Don't tell me don't bring up the past no more. They still trying to settle the score with a side of Shakur. I changed my life and I'm just trying to live life right. But at night I look behind me and see flashing lights, patting me down. You got nothing that's poking me right. I don't smoke or push pills, I gave up my vice. So Mr. Officer, why you wanna take my life? And your honor, why you gave our homeboy's life? I've been wondering why you shot our homeboy twice. Pussy with a gun screaming out that he got a knife. He came from Habibi's spot, it was chicken and rice. Shit's trife, I'm just giving visuals like Skype. Ask Trayvon, Mike Brown, Akai Gurley, Eric Garner, Sean Bell, Philando, Alden, Sterling, Jaquan McDonald. The white man is so devilish. Ask Hammurabi, he'll tell you who the devil is. The white man is so devilish. Ask Hammurabi, he'll tell you who the devil is. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. Then we seen the rise of the devil. We fell for the lies of the devil. When we got high was the devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. Then we seen the rise of the devil. I pray for the demise of the devil. Lord knows I despise every devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil and said, I pray you die every devil.
And we live at headquarters. Clap it up for the class. Yeah! Another Friday night. The Lashawan Kadash class, the Hebrew class. We're right here in Alderman. What an excellent song that was to bring us into our Hebrew class, because today we're going to be talking about who the devil is. Right. We're going to be talking about Jacob and Esau, because that's where we're at in the Sabbath service. And we know in here that Esau is the devil. And we know that because we've been in here, we've been learning under men who have been teaching this since 1969. We're here at the headquarters of the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge under Commanding General Yohana, and we've been out here teaching the truth to our people, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, that you are the 12 tribes of Israel. And Israel is Jacob. And Esau was from the womb prophesied to be our enemy forever. And we're going to learn a little bit about that today. But we're going to start off by making sure we're all caught up on the basics, because it is essential that we take back our language. It is essential that we take back all the pieces of our culture that were taken from us. You can't half-ass this thing. We got to take back our culture. Otherwise, everybody that's out there calling themselves speaking Hebrew is the devil. Can't have that. We got to take back our language. We got to take back this Hebrew, and we do this by getting in here and working on this every week, and we do this by tying this into the Sabbath service, because if you learn it on Friday and you apply it on Saturday morning, now you're starting to have a language. And we are right in the heart of the story of Jacob and Esau, which hopefully we all know if you're watching this class, but we can definitely recap it as we get into this. So first and foremost, Everybody who's out there, I hope that, we've been stressing lately the importance of getting down to basics, just getting over the intimidation factor of learning these new alphabets. And once you do it, once you just, give yourself a little push, give yourself a little practice, and just do it, it becomes second nature before you even know it. And all of a sudden, you have 2 new alphabets that you know. And so the brother up here put up the ancient, which of course is ours. This is our culture. This is the core. This is what we love. But the Assyrian we must know, because this is what the scriptures have been preserved in, and this is what allows us to open up the Torah, to open up the Tanakh, and to read these scriptures from the original language. And so everybody, if you're not caught up with it, take a few minutes on your own, get out a pen and paper, write it over and over, say the sounds out loud. If you need a sheet for guidance, we'll make sure, just drop a comment, and we'll make sure that you get an official Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge Hebrew sheet, and that you're able to absorb these alphabets on your own and follow along with everything else we do here, because we find it very important to dive in here. The only way that you really get something is by diving in head first. And so, with that said, we're going to dive right into the heart of the story and see what the Hebrew will add to our understanding, or paint a more vivid picture of what was going on between Jacob and Esau. So we are in Genesis, the 27th chapter. And if you would, brother, come up here and write the 28th verse on the board. And we're going to start talking about how we got here and what this means. And so as the brother gets ready to write this verse on the board, we're going to give a little recap, a little rundown. Because we all know we've been in this. If anybody's been, tuning into the Sabbath service for the last several weeks, we've been in this story for the last several weeks. Abraham bore his son Isaac, who then, matter of fact, we're going to go get it. This starts around in the 25th chapter, around verse 21. Isaac had now married Rebekah. He had taken Rebekah for a wife, but she was barren. Everybody at this point, they're not young at this point. And Rebekah was concerned. She was barren. And the scripture says Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him. And that word entreated in the Hebrew is ithar. And that's the word to pray, entreat, or supplicate. But it's a word that only comes up 20 times in the scriptures. So it's not the most common word for pray. It's a specific word to really, Isaac was really begging the Lord on behalf of his wife. Ithar, which is to entreat. And so as Isaac entreated the Most High on behalf of his wife, the Lord heard him, and Rebekah conceived. But in verse 22, the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? Meaning, I thought this was a blessing that I'm pregnant, but why is this going on? Who knows what she was feeling at the time, what she thought was going on. So she's asking the Lord, what's going on? This is supposed to be a blessing. Is everything all right? In verse 23, the Lord broke it down for her. And don't worry, I'm going to get this out of your way as you get down closer. And in verse 23, the Lord broke it down for her. 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. So this is a prophecy of how this is going to turn out. The Lord is telling her that this is something major going on. These 2 children are going to be the fathers of nations. And they were going to be 2 completely different types of people. And the elder shall serve the younger. In verse 25, the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. That's an odd looking child, isn't it? First came out Adamuwana, which is based on that word Adam, all over. Oh, let me know if I'm getting anywhere. I'll get out. Kalwa, just all over. Ka'adarath. Sha'ir, which is like a hairy garment. We get out this way here. So this is the background that's leading up to where we are now. And of course, that unusual looking child was named Esau. And we know who the only unusual looking man on the planet is, who is red and hairy all over like a hairy garment. The Viking, the pale, void of melanin, red-faced Neanderthal, the caveman. And we know exactly who that is. And so that was Esau. And because he came out first, we start to understand what that prophecy of the elder shall serve the younger means. But of course, Isaac had the law. So Isaac understood that his firstborn son was going to get the blessing. His firstborn son was going to get the inheritance. And so something had to happen to change that. The Lord had to set things in motion to change that. And so when we get down to verse 27, the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field. Just like Esau is today, loves nothing more than to be in the field hunting. If you go out, listen, if you're in Minnesota on the first day of deer season, nothing is open. You would think, I've never seen a holiday where more places are closed. You would think everybody got up and deserted the town because everybody is in a stand in a tree somewhere in the middle of a field waiting for a helpless little deer to come across so they can shoot a point blank range, because Esau has to hunt. And Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. That's the whole verse. Go up verse 28 down here as well. Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. That sounds like you, black and Hispanic man, chilling around the way, chilling at the crib, chilling on the porch, on the stoop.
So you mean 29, sir?
Yes.
That's 28.
That's 28. Give me here 29. And so one day, Jacob had made some pottage, and Esau came in from the field, and he was so exhausted he was about to fall over because Esau, for as much as they love to act a different way, Esau is mentally weak. And so he came and begged for some of this pottage. And Jacob said, all right, you want this pottage? Sell me your birthright. Jacob said, sell me your birthright. He said, matter of fact, I'm going to write this in the corner here. You can pause that real quick. Makarah, sell, is based on this root makar, which is to sell. Kayawam, this day, you know that Yawam is day, right? Af, which is that word that has no English equivalent, but this connects the verb to its subject. Sell, af, bakarafka. Bakarafka. Karath is birthright. Leah, which is what? La, yeah. What is ya on the end of the word? We know possessives, right? So we know, for example, is to me. So like, for example, this Bakaravka, we can break down by saying that ba is what?
In.
And then the ka at the end is what? Your. So sell, makara, kaiwam, this day, af, bakaravka, your birthright, laya, to me. Carry on. And Esau said, behold, I'm at the point to die, and what profit shall this birthright do to me? So Esau, over one measly little bowl of pottage. Do y'all realize what pottage is? This wasn't even like some type of impressive meal. This was a measly little bowl of soup. For one little, it probably wasn't even hot by the time he got it. For one little bowl of soup, Esau said, what profit shall this birthright do to me?
That part of the phrase or not?
No, leave that. We'll get to that. And just like that, Esau gave it up. In verse 33, and Jacob said, swear to me this day. Because he was going to make sure this was locked in before he even gave him the pottage. And he swore unto him. And he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Just like that. And so the end of verse 34, the end of this chapter says, thus Esau despised his birthright. And that is such a heavy line. This sets the stage for everything to follow. And it reminds you that in our culture, a word like despise is an action word. He despised his birthright by treating it like it was meaningless. Wayabaz. That word baz is to despise. Matter of fact, let's go a little deeper in this word. Bazah is a verb to hold in contempt, to disdain, to regard with contempt. Bazah. And so, Wayabaz and he, because we know when we see that Yah at the beginning of the word is saying he, Wayabaz, and he despised Aishwa, which is Esau's name in the Hebrew. Af, what did we just say about Af? That's the connector. There's no equivalent in English, but this connects the subject to its verb. Ha, the subject here is the birthright. Despised. Wayabaz, Aishwa, Af, Habakara, which we just said in the last verse, Bakar being the birthright. And just like that, Esau, with his actions, he didn't have to say it. In our culture, this was long before we learned Christianity. It's not about what you say. You don't love somebody by saying it. You don't like something by saying it. You don't hate something by saying it or by feeling it. You hate something by what you do. And Esau, by trading it for a bowl of pottage, Wayabaz, Aishwa, Ath, Habakara, despised his birthright. You can erase that. Oh, and so we still just catching up right now. We're catching up. From there, goes into chapter 26. Isaac took a trip. Jacob and Esau are in the background for a little bit, and then by the time we get back to them, we are in chapter 27. Because now Isaac is old, and his eyes were dim so that he could not see. And he said, I know I'm old, I know not the day of my death. And so he called his eldest son Esau and told him to take his weapons, go out to the field, get some venison, and make him his favorite meal. He said, verse 4, make me savory meat such as I love, and bring it to me that I may eat, that my soul may bless thee before I die. So now that Isaac is getting ready to die, it's time for him to pass on the blessing, which is the most important inheritance that he has to give. Everything else, yeah, Isaac was living comfortably. He had land, service, everything. But all of that can pass away in an instant. But the blessing that he was about to give was forever. And we're about to break this down in the Hebrew. All right, excellent. So now here we are in verse 28. Now the way we got there is Rebekah heard when Isaac said this to Esau, and Rebekah told Jacob to bring her some venison, or Rebekah told Jacob what Isaac told Esau. And she said, go to the flock and fetch me from thence, this is verse 9, 2 good kids of the goats, and I will make them savory meat for thy father such as he loveth. And thou shalt bring it to thy father that he may eat, and that he may bless thee before his death. So Rebekah told Jacob to go, and she was going to give him the food. And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. This brother was basically said, you can picture it. It's so easy to picture today. Just picture a Viking and a brother. You could be blind and still tell the difference. And so Rebecca said, all right, she went, she got she strapped some hairy armbands basically. Verse 16, and she put the skins of the kids of the goats upon his hands and upon the smooth of his neck. And she gave the savory meat and the bread which she had prepared into the hand of her son Jacob. And he came unto his father and said, my father. And he said, here am I. Who art thou, my son? And Jacob said unto his father, I am Esau, thy firstborn. I have done according as thou badest me. Arise, I pray thee, sit and eat of my venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac said unto his son, how is it that thou hast found it so quickly, my son? And he said, because the Lord thy God brought it to me, which is true. In verse 21, and Isaac said unto Jacob, come near, I pray thee, that I may feel thee, my son, whether thou be my very son Esau or not. And Jacob went near unto Isaac his father, and he felt him and said, the voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he discerned him not, because his hands were hairy, as his brother Esau's hands. So he blessed him. In verse 25, he eats the venison, he drinks the wine. Verse 26, he tells him to come near. And verse 28, which is where we are right here. In verse 28 and verse 29. And hang on, there's one thing missing. You remember what the name of the book of Genesis is in the Hebrew?
Sheets.
Close.
That's the Yiddish tongue version.
Right. Write it down. Because a couple of weeks ago, we went over every book in the Old Testament and broke down the meaning of the Hebrew names. Y'all should go and check out that class. It was an excellent class. We got to know all these things, because the more of these details we know, the farther away we can get from this bastard tongue that Esau has placed upon us. And what we're about to learn is how things were supposed to be forever. And the only reason that this Viking has any power over us is because of how long we spent disobeying the Most High. But this blessing right here, and remember, because some of y'all Christians out there, because anybody who thinks this is a Christian in their heart, get tripped up on, well, but Jacob lied, and why do you have to do all of that? He did all of that because that's how it was set up to happen.
Damn right.
It's that simple. The Lord set it up to happen like that, and you either accept it or not, but that don't change it. And so now we're going to break down what happened once Isaac commenced the blessing. Or Asha, chapter 27 and verse 28. Wayathan. Do we recognize anything about that word? First of all, what can we identify right off the bat? Wat is and. So many sentences start with and. Wayathan is related to the word nathan, which is to give. So Wayathan is and this is about to say, and the Lord give you. So Wayathan laka, which is what? If Laya is to me, Laka is what?
To you.
To you. And the Lord give to you, what's this word right here?
Hayam.
Which is? Alahayim. You know Alahayim.
Most High.
The Most High.
Hayam.
Alahayim.
Hayam will be the powers.
So Ha Alahayim. And now how would we break down like the specifics? Because like for example, would you say that in this verse, Isaac is saying that may the powers give to you? You see what I'm saying?
What verse is this?
This is verse 28.
28. 27, chapter 27, right?
Okay. Like if we were to be absolutely 100% clear, and we're going to return to that. Matal is of the dew. Tal is dew. Ma, we know, is a preposition, means of. Hashemayim, what is this word? We know this word.
Heaven.
The dew of heaven. Wamashamanya, which is, and the fatness. Ha'aratza, we know what this word is, right?
The earth.
And the fatness of the earth. Or Rab, which is, and plenty. The gun is corn. That's a new word I don't think we've come across yet. Plenty of corn. Wathayarash. What can we separate from this word right off the bat?
Wa, the and.
Was and Tayarash, wine. It's not the usual word that we use for wine, which is yayan. This word is used for wine 38 times. The Strong says that this is a particular type of wine, the fermented new sweet wine. So now let's read that verse from start to finish out loud, if you would.
Genesis chapter 27, verse 28. Wayathan Laka Ha'alahayam Matal Hashamayam Wamashmanya Ha'arataza Warab Dagan Watayarash.
Absolutely. Now, from the top, we're going to break it down as you read it.
Good job, huh? Okay. From the top, the answer?
Yeah.
Wayathan.
Wayathan is what?
And give.
And give. Because that was and Yathan is related to nothing, which is to give. Wayathan.
Laka.
Laka, which is what?
To you.
To you.
Ha'alahayam.
Ha'alahayim, the powers, because we know that God is not a word that comes from the Hebrew language. When you see this word, it means powers.
Matal.
Matal, which is of, which ma is a preposition meaning of, tal is do.
Hashamayam.
Hashemayim, which is heaven, the dew of heaven. Ha meaning ha is what? The. At some point soon, we're gonna do a breakdown of where and when exactly that ha shows up, because there's some complex grammar to it, but we're gonna have to break that down at some point soon. But for all you need to know right here is Shemayim, which is heaven. Continue.
Lamashmanya.
Wamashemanya, which is and the fatness, and Wamashemanya and the fatness. Continue.
Ha'arataza.
Of the earth, Aratazah. Keep going.
Warab.
And plenty. Continue.
Dagan.
The gun, which is corn. Continue.
Wathayarash.
Wathayarash, which is and the sweet wine. And now we're going to keep going right into verse 29. In verse 29, Wa'ibadwaka, you recognize anything here? Ya Ibadwaka, Salaki.
Ibad, to work or serve.
Ibad is to serve.
And the Ka is you.
And the Ka is you. I'm you.
Peoples.
People. I'm is people, meaning as in a nation or a race of people, a group of people. I'm young.
Laka, to you.
To you. Did we miss a word?
Had this other one that was in parentheses, so I didn't add this one. The other one I was.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me see.
That's that part of it, or it's actual context. I didn't know if it was part of the verse.
There's something here that's like
They're different.
two different. Yeah.
I
I'm gonna check into that later, but I'm gonna go with the one that's right here, which is Wayeshathakwa. And Wayeshathakwa. Well, first of all, what can we break down from that word right off the bat?
The wa is the end.
And the Y at the end is what? Well, let me ask you this. Do you recognize the root word here, which is shakha,
The end is his.
essentially? The shakha. You recognize that root word? This is the word for to worship, to bow down, to do obeisance to. This is the blessing that was given to Jacob. The people serve thee and nations bow down to thee. But that word bow down is literal, is the word for worship and do obeisance to. Everything in here has a whole picture, a whole image behind it. It's not just saying they're going to bow down to you. What does that mean if they just bow down to you and get up? It's saying they're going to obey you. They're going to worship you. They're going to look up to you. Nations are going to serve you. Laka, which is to you. All these things are to you.
Amayam.
La'amiyam, which is
Nations.
nations. Let's break that word down real quick. La'am, because of course we know that yom at the end is pluralizing it. La'am is a word used for people and nations. It's a word that only comes up 35 times in the scriptures. It's people 24 times, nation 10 times, and folk 1 time. This is a community or a nation of people. What's this word here? Hawa'ah, which is based on, some we should know by now.
Become, be.
This is based on the word for to be. What's this word here?
Gabayar.
Gabayar, which is Lord. But this word, there's a lot of words in here that are used very few times in scriptures, and they're used here for very specific reasons. So when you look up this word Gabayar, you see that it only comes up 2 times in the entire Bible. This is one instance. And the other instance is 9 verses later, when Esau came upset and asked him, for a blessing of his own, and Isaac said, I already made him your Lord, your Gabayar, your Gabayar. This word, let's see what else we can find out about this word.
Could it be master?
This can be, well, Lord is master. That's all that means. Some people get tripped up over the way that Lord is used at different times in the Bible, the way that Lord is used in this school. But that's only if you are very shallow. Lord, the word Lord has been used as master. Every title that we have, a respectful title, in almost every language is some variation of Lord. What do you think you're saying when you call somebody Mr. So-and-so? That title is derived from master. Same thing when you say Senor in Spanish. If you open up the Spanish Bible, the word that you're saying Lord when you're talking about the Lord is the same Senor. Lord is your Lord, meaning the person who has authority over you. It's not that mystical. Don't overcomplicate it and get yourself twisted up. Lord and master, ruler, person of authority over you. And that's what this blessing was, that Jacob was going to be Lord over all these nations, that the nations would bow down and do obeisance. Where we at? Right here.
La'akayaka.
Well, Akika, what can we identify in here?
The ka at the end's your.
Okay, what else?
Ak is brother.
There you go. What else?
La is 2.
La is 2. So, 2 your brothers. It's this word here.
Wayashathkawa.
Wayashat. And so let's break this down. This is that same word that we just broke down a minute ago for worship or doing obeisance to. It's right here. Wayashathakwa. Here it's Wayashathakwa. Same word. The prophecy is that the nations will worship. Continue.
Ka,
Which is
to you.
to you. Continue.
Banya,
Which is
sons.
sons. Go on.
Ka,
which is
your mother.
your mother. Continue.
Ararayaka,
Ararika, which is to curse, is the root word here, which is arar. This is the word for to curse, to place a curse on. Arar is to curse. And in this context, of course, this is going to say that cursed is everyone who curses you. Continue.
Arawar,
Which is that same word, right? Keep going.
Wamabar Kayaka.
What do we recognize here?
Wa's the end,
Why is the end?
the Ka would be the U, the end.
Okay. What else?
Baraka, bless.
Bless.
Barak,
Barak is bless. Continue.
Barau, Waka, bless.
The same root word. This is what we stress every week. This is what happens when you expand your vocabulary. Because all Hebrew is, every word in Hebrew is built around a root word. You take a root word like Barak, which is bless, you add prepositions like wa, which is and, or ha, which is the, or ma, which is of. A letter at the beginning signifies those things. A letter at the beginning of the word signifies and, or the, or of. A letter at the end of the word signifies the possessive, signifies who this word is directed towards. A letter in the middle of the word can change the tense of the word. This is the basics of Hebrew. Everything is built into the word. And what that means is, if you just build your vocabulary with basic words, you can start to deconstruct these words as you read them. Even if they seem big and intimidating, you can take them apart by identifying the root word, by recognizing, and that even helps when it's a word you may not know, that may be based on a word that you do know. Hashemayim is heaven, Mayim is waters. Just little things like this, you can find out where the word comes from and start to figure out with context. And this is how you put this language together. So, let's read 29 straight through.
Khan. Genesis chapter 27, verse 29. Ya Ibad Waka. Amayam. Wayashath Kawawa. Laka. Lamayam. Hawa'a. Gabayar, La Aka Yaka, Wayashath Kawawa, Laka, Banya, Amaka, Arar Yaka, Arawar, Lamabar Kayaka.
Say that again.
Wa Mabaraka Yaka.
Good.
Barawaka.
Perfect. Now let's run that through one more time, and we're going to break it down a little bit more.
Genesis chapter 27, verse 29 from the top. Ya ibad waka.
Abadicus, let people serve you. Continue.
I'm a yum.
This is the people. I'm, which is people, I'm young. People in the sense of nations, a group of people. But this is plural, many groups of people. That many nations serve you. Continue.
Wayashath kawawa.
Which is that word shatha, which is to worship, to bow down, to do obedience. Continue.
Laka.
To you. Continue.
La'am yam.
La'amyu. Nations again. Continue.
Hawaha.
Which is be. Keep going.
Gabayaka. No, Salakia. Gabayar.
Kabiyar. Lord or master. Keep going.
Ma'akyaka.
So now we're going to separate these phrases out. This is a new phrase within this verse. This is where this clause begins. Hawa Gabiyar La'akyaka. Be Lord to your brothers. Continue.
Wayashath kawawa.
By Shathaku, which is that word Shathak again, which is to worship, to do obedience, to bow down to. Keep going.
Laka.
So this is, and let bow down to thee, Laka. Keep going.
Banya. Amaka.
Now that's who this is saying, let bow down to you. Let the sons of your mother bow down to you. Because this blessing was directly in contrast to his sibling, which would prophesy to be two different nations and two different manner of people. So when Isaac is blessing his son to have dominion, to have rulership over all the peoples of the earth, that means his mother's son. That means his brother Esau. Continue.
Larayaka.
So now this is a new phrase within this sentence. This is a new clause. Ararika. Continue.
Arawar.
So Ararika, which is anyone who curse, Arar, you, Arawar, be cursed. Continue.
Wamabar kayaka.
And
Wamabarak yaka.
Amar Barakika, and those who bless Barak you. Go ahead.
Barawaka.
Be blessed. How does that look?
Lovely.
This is how it looks when I take notes. Now y'all understand. Okay. Take your time, take pictures of this if you need. We're going to slide around for this last half hour of class because we're going to make sure that we understand the importance of what went down here. Because as soon as this happened, and we go down to verse 32, and Esau had come back and was asking, where's my blessing? And his father realized what happened. Esau begged for his own blessing. And what was the response? verse 37, Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy Lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? Meaning, what's left? I gave him everything. In these short little 2 verses here is everything. The dew of heaven, the fatness of the earth, meaning he was going to have the best land. The dew of heaven, meaning even the weather would be on his side. There would be no famines. Plenty of corn representing all types of food and crops. The sweetest wine. The people are going to serve you and obey and worship you. He that curseth you will be cursed. He that bless you will be blessed. He gave him in those 2 short verses. He gave Jacob everything. And all of this was given because the Lord gave it through Isaac. The Lord blessed Isaac and his seed. And that's why this was set up to fulfill the prophecy that all that blessing was going to go to the younger, that the elder shall serve the younger. And so this all went to Jacob, because that's how much the Lord loved Israel before Israel was even Israel. And that's how much the Lord always set up Esau to come down in the end. So, when Esau finally got a blessing, the blessing was, this is verse 39, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven from above, which sounds similar, but it's not. Because he said, thy dwelling shall be. In verse 28, to Jacob, it says, therefore God give thee of the dew of heaven and the fatness of the earth. So Esau might be dwelling there, and that's what we're seeing today. Esau might be dwelling on the fatness of the earth, but it's not his.
Right.
And so now back down to verse 40, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, because everything was prophesied. And Esau having a time in rulership was prophesied right here. When thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And then in verse 41, it tells you that Esau hated Jacob because of this blessing. And he sought out to slay his brother Jacob. But of course, that wasn't going to happen. That wasn't going to work out. And so now we're going to fast forward and we're going to see how this plays out throughout the scriptures. So, if you got all your pictures and whatnot, you can erase this work of art here. And we're going to jump ahead to Isaiah, the 49th chapter, and the 23rd verse. This is a famous core ISUPK scripture right here, because this is a prophecy of the future, and this connects to the blessing that was given to Israel from the start. It's a reminder that our condition right now is not what our condition is meant to be. It is not what our condition will remain. And so let's write this up on the board and break it down.
Isaiah 49:23.
49 and 23. And this verse right here describes how even though a nation may control the earth, that can very quickly be overturned.
Real offer, sir.
We'll do our best. Actually, pause. We're going to come back to that at the end. First, we're going to go to Malachi chapter 1 and verse 2. Let's put that up. We got to set the stage a little bit more. Because as the scriptures played out, as Israel grew, as we went through things, and we fast forward all the way to the time of Malachi, which is the last book in the Old Testament. I don't know, Salak, is it chronologically the last book?
I believe so. I'll double check that comment. I don't know.
Malachi is the last book in the Old Testament. And so now we've gone through all this, but the Lord, despite all that we did as a people, despite all our rebellions and the many times that we went against the Most High and broke His commandments and broke our covenant with the Lord never forgot this blessing. The Lord never forgot the love that He has for us as a people. And so these couple of verses right here are beautiful, beautiful reminders of that. We're going to start with verse 2 and write a little bit small because we might add verse 3 and 4 onto it. Now in the English, this scripture is poetic. Malachi 1 and verse 2 says, I have loved you, saith the Lord. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord? Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. And this is a scripture that Paul was quoting in Romans, because these prophecies were never forgotten. These prophecies were always looked forward to by us as a people. Because we've always known who our enemy is. And just like whether it was the Greeks or the Romans, whenever we've been the Persians, whenever we've been oppressed, we have been oppressed by the people that we know are supposed to be worshiping and serving at our feet. But through all that, the Lord saw fit to remind us through the prophet Malachi. So we're going to start off, as the brother is writing, Ahabathia. Ahab is the word here, which is the word for love in the Hebrew. Ahabathia. I have loved. Okay, perfect. I've loved you. We know that Amar means say. Amar Yahweh means saith the Lord. Continue. So if Amar Yahweh means saith the Lord, while Amar Thumb, this word here, is built around that same root word Amar. And this is yet ye say. The wa meaning and, which can also stand for yet, wa Amar Thumb. Yet you all, you plural, say, but ma, wherein? Ahab, that same root word for love. Ahab. Ahabachnoah. Wherein have you loved us? Alawa Aishwa was not your brother Esau, sorry, not your brother, was not La Iqab. Iqab is, of course, or Salaki. Iqab is Jacob's name in the Hebrew. La, two. Halo Aishwa, La Iqab was not brother Esau to Jacob, was not Esau Jacob's brother. Na'am Yahweh, which is another way of saying, saith the Lord. Wa Ahab, and what's that word Ahab?
Love.
Love. Af Yaiqua, and I loved Jacob. Keep going if you can get the next verse up there.
Verse 3, sir?
Yeah. So again, as we go through this, we're building our vocabulary with words that we're seeing over and over, like Ahab for love, like Amar for say. Of course, very basic words that we see all the time, like Ak for brother. And we're learning something about sentence structure. As we separate out phrase by phrase. So as we break it down piece by piece, Ahabathia Afkum Amar Yahweh, I have loved you, saith the Lord. While Amar Thum Bama Ahabathnua, yet you say, wherein have you loved us? Wa Amar Thum Bama Ahabathnua, yet you say, wherein have you loved us? Hallelujah. Aishwa, like Iqua, was not Esau Jacob's brother? Na'am Yahweh, saith the Lord, wa ahab ath Yaiqua, yet I have loved Jacob. Now we're in verse 3. And as we do this, and I'm going to keep on stressing this, breaking these verses and these sentences down into phrases so that it can start to sound more and more like a language. If we can break it down piece by piece and hear these phrases being said, then we're really learning sentence structure. We're really starting to learn tenses. And as we're doing it, we're learning the scriptures. All right, now we're going to let these words marinate here. Wa'ahab Iqua, yet I love Jacob in verse 3. Wa'ath Ishua Shenaathia. Can we guess what that word is?
Which word?
So, Wa'ahab, and I love Iqua, and I love Jacob. Wa'ath Ishua Shenaathia. What do we think this word is here?
Hated.
Hated. And Esau have I hated. Hated. That root word there is shana'ah. And this is the word for hate in the Bible. 136 times is translated as hate. 3 times as enemy. 3 times as enemies. 2 times as enemy. 1 time as foes. 1 time as hateful. The Most High said this about a nation of people. This is in the time of Malachi. There's no way that you can say this is about the man Esau. This is his descendants. This is his nation. This is his heritage that the Lord calls his enemy. Hates. That's a heavy thing right there. And if there's anybody on this planet that deserves to be hated, it's the white man. So now that is the first phrase. While Ashim, what is that?
And laid.
So this is what's going to be laid waste. Where are we at? So what do we recognize here?
The Har.
The Har is what?
The hills.
Hills or mountains. So the Most High is going to lay waste his mountains. Shema, what is this here? Do you recognize anything here?
No.
Sorry, this is a word for devastation or waste. So this is laid waste his mountains. Wa'af, which means we're still connecting this verb to something. The Lord's still doing some things with this. What is this word here?
His heritage.
His heritage. Nachalafwa, his heritage or his inheritance. Because Esau despised his inheritance. He didn't care what was going to happen to the rest of his generations over a bowl of pottage. He did not care. And so the Most High remembered that all these generations later. And he said he's going to lay waste to his mountains, meaning because Esau dwells where? In the mountains. That's a caveman. And so when the Lord says he's going to lay waste his mountains, that's his house. Your house is in a cave in the middle of a hill somewhere on Mount Seir, and the Lord is going to lay waste to it, meaning you. This one right here. Which is translated here as dragon. His heritage is for the dragons. That's rough. That's hatred. The Lord said he's going to make his heritage for the dragons, Madabar. Do we remember this word?
Eyes of Jabar
Is
wilderness.
what's the name of the book of Numbers in the Hebrew?
In the wilderness. So that's
Madabar. In the wilderness. So here, Madabar, meaning the Lord is going to put Esau's heritage in the wilderness. But it gets better. Let's throw verse 4 up there. Clear out some room if you got to. Take your time. Take a picture if you need to. And we're going to finish up in these last 10 minutes with verse 4, which is one of the most beautifully poetic verses in the whole Bible. This verse is love from the Lord. Because this verse is the Lord telling us how much he hates our enemies.
a very long verse. I like this.
Yeah, go ahead. And we're going to go off the air probably still breaking down this verse. which I love to do. I love to go off the air in the middle of doing work because the work never stops. And whoever's out there watching live should be going right along with us, should be writing these down, should be practicing after, should be utilizing these skills to read the scriptures, to follow along at the Sabbath service, to understand the prayers that we pray even better. You should be utilizing these skills. You should be honing these skills. You should be taking back your language. You should be giving yourself another language to think in other than English.
I got 10 minutes. All right.
You're on the clock.
I'm on the clock. I'm trying to read fast.
Malachi chapter 1 and verse 4. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Meaning this is how prideful this man is. That even when he's in a low state, he thinks he can come back and rule the world next week. But the scripture continues, thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. Meaning whatever Esau builds, no matter how glorious it may look, the Roman Empire fell once and it'll fall again. And the scripture continues, and they shall call them the border of wickedness. And everybody on the planet, every group of people on the planet know who the wicked is on the earth. It's not a mystery to anybody except our people. Our people are the only ones that have a hard time understanding the one man on the planet that everyone hates. And the scripture continues, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever. The Most High hates Esau forever. Anything that you see happening today is for a reason, it's for a time, but the Lord has reminded us all through the scriptures that he loves his people Israel, and that in the end, it's all going to be sorted out. But to get there, we got to do our part. To get there, we got to put in this work. Let's see what we got so far. Everywhere I'm drawing a line is to separate phrases or clauses in this sentence. So as our time ticks away, this is going to be your assignment for next week for everybody that's tuning in live. Everywhere I've drawn a green line separates a different phrase in this verse. So if you go and read through this verse and write it out on your own in the Hebrew, piece by piece, translate each of these words and learn these together as a phrase by phrase. Kayath Amar Adawam, Ashashnua, Wanashawab, Wanabana, Karabwath. Each phrase, if you learn this phrase by phrase, now it's sounding like a language. If you learn the translation, you learn what it means, now you're able to say these things together and start to put it together and start to feel it like it's your tongue.
That's fine. I'm gonna make it.
Down to the last line, are you going to make it? This brother was put on the clock and has put up this entire verse in a mere less than 10 minutes. Let me finish my part. A wall Rashai, the border of wickedness. Waha'an, that an is people, remember? Waha'an, the people, Ashar, which Za'an, Yahweh, I will which is forever. The people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever. That's your assignment, everybody, to take this verse and digest it in the Hebrew, break it down phrase by phrase, and learn this, learn your language, learn who the Most High loves and hates according to the Bible. And with that, we'll pass the class over to Priest, Officier 5000, Yatazar.
Osan Christ. Clap it up for the class. Clap it up. Clap it up for the class. Osan Christ. Officer Aishai Allah doing a great job with the Hebrew. ISUPK security announcement. We are the ISUPK, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are there to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After the 6 months period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry ties, which is a commandment. Numbers 18 and 21, Malachi 3, verses 8 to 10, means 10th in the Hebrew, ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher, priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you will like. Upcoming Holy Convocation, which is the Feast of Purim. It's not a holy day, but it is a feast day that we observe every year. It's going to fall on February 22nd, sundown, and February 23rd. And we also going to be in North Carolina. Look out for that that Saturday. Make sure, brothers, Aquathion, you check the bulletin board. If any brother wants to be a trooper in the school, begin to wear all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. And any sister wants to be a sister in the school, you contact the camp leader in your zone. With that, man of Israel, Imajam, which means to stand. Imajam Shabbat. Imajam Barak. Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushua Barakatum. To the sisters, Yahweh Shamar Alatam Ba'Hashem Yahushua. Yajam Matah. Dismiss. On Son of Christ.